Hi everybody, it's Chris. Welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for popping by today. I'm going to continue with my series that I call Favourite 5, where I share my favourite 5 albums and songs and so on from any one artist. Today, it's the legendary guitarist Jeff Beck, and I've got 5 albums and some 5 guest appearances and some tracks for you. So let's do albums first. So at number 5 from 1980 is this album, There and Back. And I think by 1980, Jeff Beck had kind of refined his instrumental voice to a point of absolute clarity, and There and Back reflects that kind of polish. Now, whilst this work is still grounded in jazz fusion, the album feels a little bit sleeker, possibly more melodic than albums that preceded it. It has the energy of some of those mid-70s albums, but the mood is slightly lighter, less experimental. And this record has got Tony Hymas on keyboards and drummer Simon Phillips, and their two kind of technical precision really anchors this album and its intricate arrangements. Star Cycle, which is features Jan Hammer heavily. That's a kind of bright synthesizers driving rhythm. There's a song called The Pump, which kind of has this hypnotic groove, real good emotional performance from Jeff Beck. Space Boogie on here. Simon Phillips' drum on that song is absolutely off the chart, and El Becco and You Never Know are just proper fusion agility from Jeff Beck. So There and Back is an album that I think closes that trilogy that began with 2 preceding albums in terms of jazz fusion, and it doesn't break new ground necessarily, but it kind of just perfects that fusion formula that Beck really defined, I think. So the playing on here is absolutely stellar. It's immaculate, and I think it captures an artist, certainly in Jeff Beck and the others as well, but an artist absolutely at ease with his own evolution. It's less about innovation though, more about refinement, and that's my number 5. At number 4, I've gone with 1971's Rough and Ready. So a real change in direction in many ways from the kind of roaring blues of the late 60s. Toned down, in fact, the blues on this record. New lineup on the band. They are there on the cover, and this new lineup brings a kind of a fresh direction, and it's a move more towards jazz, towards funk, towards exploration. It opens with a song called Got the Feeling, which is a kind of a loose groove based kind of song. This is much more of a band album than a guitar showcase, so some good musicians on this band, and Beck's kind of playing weaves in and out of them, I think. Situation is tremendous. The vocals by Bob Tench are decent. It's kind of got a soulful delivery, and it complements the kind of, the band that are backing him. Tracks like New Ways, Train, and definitely maybe kind of reveal Beck's kind of growing interest in mood over kind of loudness and force, and it blends rock sort of structures with a bit more jazz, really. It does lack the immediacy of earlier albums, but introduces some fusion kind of elements that would later define Jeff Beck's kind of mid-70s output. This is a decent album. It's a transitional album, but then again, I think all Jeff Beck albums are transitional, aren't they, really? He's always on the move. He's always evolving. He never seems to just stay in one genre. He even changing during an album. But anyway, that's my number 4. At number 3, the jazz fusion masterpiece that is Wired. Now, this picks up where kind of the album before kind of left off, but I think it pushes the sound into slightly edgier kind of territory. It is once again, like the album that preceded it, it's instrumental, a showcase for Jeff Beck's kind of growing command, really, of the kind of jazz rock, jazz fusion kind of genre, but this time it's a little bit harder, a little bit kind of more metallic in tone. The lineup here features Jan Hammer. He plays synthesizers, keyboards and whatnot, and I think his presence really adds a kind of distinctive sound to this album, far more than the album that before it. Good album. It opens with a song called Lead Boots, which is a kind of a driving track. It has a bit of a heaviness that has a nod towards his kind of rocky background that he had prior to this. Come Dancing, Head for Backstage Pass, kind of have funky rhythms but also fluid guitar, and it really highlights Jeff Beck's knack for kind of balancing kind of virtuosity with touch and feel. Goodbye Pork Pie Hat, a tribute to Charlie Mingus, is a cover, but it's kind of a reimagining, really, more than a straightforward cover. If you want a cover, I think Joni Mitchell's is probably better, but it's a really, really good song. Jan Hammer's influence on this album is quite profound, as I said a minute ago. There's a song on here where I think it's especially strong, and that's a great song called Blue Wind. Really, really good song. or tune, probably the album's most high energy piece, and the interplay between Jan Hammer on keyboards and Jeff Beck on guitar is like a jewel almost, full of kind of contrast and motion. It's really good. So yeah, really good album. That's my number, number 3. At number 2, the album that came before it. This is a fantastic album, Blow by Blow, from 1975. Now, this kind of typifies for me Jeff Beck's kind of wonderful, kind of unpredictable career. This is a turning point in Jeff Beck's kind of career, because it's his first fully instrumental album, an album where composition and arrangement are really to the foreground. It's produced by George Martin, and so we're moving away from the kind of blues rock theatrics that we had on the late 60s album to a more kind of jazz funk fusion sound. You know, we've got the incredibly mournful Because We Ended as Lovers, the Stevie Wonder song, which kind of just shows incredible amount of restraint in so many ways in the playing. It's so emotional. The pitch bends, the silence, it's more about expression than rapid guitar runs. Fantastic. Freeway Jam is great, and there's some more angular pieces, you know what I mean, Constipated Duck, which I think show Jeff Beck exploring this kind of album. It kind of reframes the electric guitar. He's playing a Les Paul there. He usually plays a Strat, doesn't he? It kind of reframes the electric guitar as a kind of melodic, expressive voice, really. And I've seen him live, and he can make a guitar sing. Just incredible. My favourite album, though, by Jeff Beck is this one, Truth, which is the first of the Jeff Beck Group albums. Could it be the first ever heavy rock album, possibly? It didn't have the gravitas of Cream or Led Zeppelin, but it's a radical album, which I think has been copied quite a few. It's an influential, groundbreaking album. As influential as anything, I think, by the Stones or the Who, for example. Now, I know that Cream and Hendrix have been moving in this direction, but a combination of Jeff Beck on guitar and the wailing kind of vocals of Rod Stewart and Ron Wood on bass, Mickey Waller on drums produced this really kind of daring album. You Shook Me, for example, Willie Dixon's song, is just proto-Zeppelin. And there's other covers on here that sound nothing like the originals. They're really reimagined. A landmark album, a blueprint for hard rock. Technically brilliant, but very rarely self-indulgent, and so this isn't kind of polite British blues, this, like the Blues Breakers. This is heavier and darker and meaner as an album. Fantastic stuff. Beck's guitar tone on here is absolutely molten. One minute he's kind of snarling, the next minute it's almost whispering. It's brilliant. You can practically hear the birth of Led Zeppelin in this album. Jimmy Page obviously worked with Beck in the Yardbirds, would have been influenced by this, surely. It isn't his most refined album, but I think it's his most important, and it captures a moment where rock music stopped being polite and nice and started being a bit more powerful. The bridge between blues, the blues giants really, and the kind of heavy rock stuff. So some 5 tremendous albums. Let's look at 5 times where he's appeared on other people's stuff that I think are really good. So he played with Stevie Wonder on this album, Talking Book. Allegedly he played a little drum fill, and Stevie Wonder loved it and it became Superstition, but he does guest on here as well. Looking for Another Pure Love has got a lovely guitar solo on it. Great contribution from Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck actually did do a version of Superstition. It does appear on here. It's decent. The thing is with this band, Beck Bogart a piece that they lack a vocalist, so the version of Superstition is okay with a good vocalist. I think it would have been even better. Next up, this band, Up. This is a 3-piece from the mid-70s, this album, their debut album. So the drummer on here, a guy called Jim Copley, his dad was friends with Jeff Beck, and Jeff Beck came down to see them play. Loved the kind of soul funk influences of things like Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway and so on, and actually ended up producing this album and guesting on it. He plays on a song called Jeff's One, but the opening song, Bad Stuff, has got a lovely guitar solo on it and a great contribution from Jeff Beck. So that's Up from 75 and Bad Stuff. Next up, now he played with Cozy Powell, Jeff Beck, at various points in his career, and guested also on Cozy Powell's second album. So this is Tilt from about 1980, 81, something like that. He's on here a couple of times. Hot rock. and Cat Moves. And of those two, one of them features Jan Hammer, which is hot rock, I think. It is a great song, and that's worthy of your attention. Nice little fusion number featuring Cozy Powell, Jan Hammer and Jeff Beck. And two more kind of guest appearances. He did appear with people like Roger Waters and Kate Bush and so on, but he also appeared on this album as well, Private Dancer, and plays a wonderful solo on the title track, and then played alongside Stanley Clarke, a master of the bass guitar and a master of jazz fusion. Good album, Journey to Love. Some real good players on here. Jeff Beck's one of them. Hello Jeff, he plays on, of course, but he plays the solo on Journey to Love, the title track. It's a great effect as well, so that's really worthy of your attention, that track. So that's his appearances. Let's think about some of my favourite songs. Got two categories here, top tier and second tier. I'm going to do the second tier first. So in fifth place in the second tier, Let Me Love You, a Rod Stewart song, I think, but a fantastic tune. Second track on side one, really good stuff, love that. At number 4, going to this album and the reimagining of Goodbye Pork Pie Hat, the Charlie Mingus song. Some gorgeous guitar work on that, and also some great keyboard playing as well from Max Middleton, but that's a fantastic song. At number 3 in the second tier is from the There and Back album, and the song is called Space Boogie. Brilliant guitar, fantastic guitar from Jeff Beck, some great keyboards from Tony Hymas, but the drumming of Simon Phillips on Space Boogie is fantastic. What a drummer Simon Phillips was, amazing. That's at number 3. At number 2, we're going back to the debut Truth and Rock My Plimsoll, which is, I think is a Rod Stewart song. I think it is anyway, but that's a great little blues song, and that's my number 2. And at number 1 in the set, sort of bubbling under, if you like, is from this album. It also features on the live album Jeff Beck with the Jan Hammer group, and the song is called Freeway Jam. I love that song. It's just very Jan Hammer and very Jeff Beck, and it's a brilliant combination of those two musicians. Okay, let's look at my favourite songs by Jeff Beck. Now, at number 5 is a song that might surprise people. It comes from an album from the mid-80s, an album produced by Nile Rodgers, or lots of the tracks were, and so it has a kind of an 80s feel, but the second track, which starts with a guitar solo and then has another one later on, is just gorgeous. So the album is called Flash, the song is called Gets Us All in the End. Jimmy Hall, I think, is the vocalist. Got a great voice, actually, but that's a tremendous song. If you haven't heard it, play it, it's brilliant. It's got a bit of an 80s sound, but great stuff. That's at number 5. At number 4, going to Wired, and the kind of real collaboration between Jan Hammer and Jeff Beck, the trading of keyboards and guitar that is on Blue Wind. Fantastic song, and that's my number, number 4. At number 3, from this album, again from Truth, what a tremendous album, but Morning Dew. I just think it's brilliant. The guitar tone on that song is just to die for. It's absolutely fantastic, and that's my 3rd favourite Jeff Beck song. At number 2, this might surprise people, but I've always loved this song, and I kind of, in some ways I know why I do, in other ways I don't, but it's just brilliant. I love the vocals on it. It's from the album Rough and Ready, and the song is called Situation, but the guitar work on it is just fantastic. A bit more conventional song, really, for Jeff Beck, but it's just great. I love it. And my favourite song by Jeff Beck, where is it? There it is on here. Stevie Wonder cover. 'Cause We Ended as Lovers, which is just absolutely brilliant, dedicated to Roy Buchanan, but it's I think it's a Stevie Wonder cover, isn't it? I think it is anyway, but the guitar work on that, and as I said, I've seen Jeff Beck live, and the whole concert, although people were calling out for Hi Ho Silver Lining, the whole concert was instrumental, but this guy can make a guitar sing. And his technique and his tone is just, on that particular song, where emotion just drips from it. 'Cause We Ended as Lovers is my favourite Jeff Beck song. So there you go. Tell me what you think in the comments below about this absolutely legendary guitarist. And I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.